You're tuned in to Ask the Master Auto Technician. Car questions? Get answers right now. Call 850-763-0555.
James Auto Center, we fix it right, guaranteed. Beep, 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 yeah.
All right, welcome back to Ask the Master Auto Technician, second show, second part of our show on Monday morning, almost a Saturday morning. It's not Monday morning. It's still early. It's still not really bright out there, Scott, but at least the daylight savings time has kicked in a little bit, and so we at least wake up where it's not too dark outside. So how are you doing this morning, sir?
Well, I'm good. I enjoy the daylight in the morning, but not the dark when you get off work.
I don't either. You know, it's 5 o'clock. It's dark 30. That's the only thing I don't like about this. It makes for a long day. It seems like about 3, 4 o'clock, you're ready to go home, and you still got another hour or so to work. And go, man, I don't like this. But tell me what seems to be the biggest thing that ran across y'all's desk as far as problems this weekend. Because I know normally it seems like on weekends you always have those crises that pop up. Was there a crisis that popped up this weekend?
Oh, sure. What's going on right now is the cooler weather is causing the water heaters to leak.
You told me that. Why does cool weather cause water heaters to leak?
Well, I'm not a scientist, but the only thing I can determine is, the colder groundwater coming into the tank.
Yeah.
We're maybe turning during the summertime we have the knob straight up and using a little bit of warm water with the cold water. Maybe we're turning it over a little bit more, and we're just working that water heater a little bit harder than we did a few months ago.
Yeah.
And so if it was going to break or leak, it has now. We're overtaxing the system.
Right. So water heaters, I tell people all the time that, about transmissions, they talk about changing transmission fluid in it. They're scared to change it because it may cause them to go bad. But on water heaters, they only have a lifespan of, what'd you tell me, electric water heaters, 10 years on average? Am I right on that?
Well, we're changing them out in 8 years.
8 years. Okay.
It's common for us to change out a water heater in that range. The manufacturer typically will give a warranty of 6 years.
6 years, okay.
You can upgrade to a 10-year or 12-year, but they do a couple of different things to the water heater. But if it's exceeded your manufacturer's warranty, it's time to start budgeting for another water heater, because it's not a matter of if it's going to break or leak, it's a matter of when. And if it's in the center of your home or somewhere where you could cause damage to your home, you really need to take that serious.
Is there any preventive measures people can do to inspect, repair? Is there any preventive maintenance on a water heater? I know some of them have anodes in them for eating up, for the anode to eat up instead of the water element. But I don't know if that's still true or not. Is there any maintenance to do to one? Sure.
Oh, sure. They do have an anode rod in the water heater, and that's the sacrificial metal. Kind of
right.
Like if most people in our part of the country understand that zinc that's on the boat motor, to keep the salt water and the electrolysis and all that from going. It's a sacrificial metal. So that is designed to last for 7-8 years. And once it's gone, it starts working into the glass line heater, but it starts working into the fissures in that glass lining, and it starts eating into the metal. Some of the things that can be done throughout once you install a brand new heater. Now, if it's a 7-year-old heater, you might as well just go ahead and budget to replace it.
All right.
When you put your brand new heater in, at least on an annual basis, and we do this with for our Advantage Plan customers when we come out and do the annual plumbing checkup, is we'll drain the water heater, flush it. Now, if it's never been flushed, you probably need to start with a brand new water heater. You do that once a year, and you're really going to keep a lot of the sediment out, a lot of the corrosive elements out of that water heater, that tank. It's going to extend the life of that tank for sure.
Now, so what you recommend is once a year back flush the water heater. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, so back flush the water heater, and maybe every 3 years change the sacrificial anode in it to give it a little bit more lifetime, or it won't fail on you. But get ready to change it at 8 years, no matter what. Is that the other thing you're saying? Sure. Okay. Now, what about? Okay, so we know these are water heaters that are that hold 50 to 100 gallons of water. There's someplace in your house. And this is water that that you're constantly heating and everything, unless you have a timer on it. Now, on-demand water heaters like I have in my household, that is something that they still need to be serviced as well once a year. Y'all actually have to flush them out, back flush those as well. But they're not inside the house, so if they do spring a leak, they spring a leak outside. Is that correct?
That's right. Now, there are units that are inside of a garage or inside of maybe a closed-in area that vents to the outside, which we really suggest people not do that, because you've got a gas appliance that can be put on the outside and should be put on the outside.
Right. But
you're absolutely right. That water heater has a heat exchanger in it, a series of copper tubings that fish back and forth that the heat runs across to heat it as the water passes through, and just the nature of that water heating, it's going to pull out the lime and the different things in the water that will stick to the inside of that heat exchanger, and so over time it builds up a coating. So once a year, it's recommended to come out and flush a solution through that heat exchanger that will remove that buildup. Now, that's another issue. If you have never done it and it's 5 or 6 years old, and you decide, hey, let's go ahead and do it now, and you flush it through and you work that stuff loose, you may expose little pinholes, and then you've got to replace the heater.
That sounds a lot like how a radiator works. I know a lot of people that don't change their antifreeze until they have a problem, and by that time it's too late, or they don't do a coolant exchange, and they've gone more than the 2 or 3 years I recommend. They go 5 or 6 years now. They want to do a coolant exchange, and they come back 3 months later going, now my radiator leaks, and that's exactly what happens. You're talking about the same thing when you go in there and you flush out this coolant exchange system. It sometimes will expose these little cracks and crannies due to improper maintenance in the past. And so now, we know that the on-demand water heater costs a little more to install, but what's usually the payback time on it? How long do they normally last before they fail or have problems? Are they more than 8 years, 10 years, 15 years before they have problems if you do regular maintenance on them?
Well, I feel like they're going to be way more than a tank heater. The popularity of these tankless heaters really came in, and I forget which year it was. It was either 2008 or 2009 where they did the tax incentive for folks to swap them out. And, boy, they just went like wildfire. People were buying them left and right. So we have changed out a few of those that we installed back in that point in time that people maybe didn't do maintenance, or maybe it was on the south side on the beach property, something of that nature. But for the most part, we have changed very few of those out. I know I put one in 2009 in my house, and it's still running strong.
I think that's about
any problem.
I think that's about the time we put ours in as well. And what we do is have y'all come out once a year, and y'all run a solution through it, and what comes out is green water. Only thing I can figure out is there's copper inside there or something, and it's removing that the copper coating or scale that's inside there, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm seeing maybe pieces of copper, the greenness. I don't know what it is. I'm just guessing what it is, but it reminds me of a heat exchanger in a radiator. Not much difference, other than the fact you're trying to add heat rather than take away heat. And that's the biggest difference. You're putting flame on that radiator, so to speak, to heat up the water to go into your house. Where in a car, you've got that hot water and you got cold air going across it trying to remove the heat. So it's just a reverse of thermodynamics where you're adding heat to it. But you're saying that does have to be maintenance from the inside, not so much where the flame hits it, but the inside. When it boils it inside or gets it hot, it leaves deposits of calcium and travertine and all those nasty little things inside there that will actually clog up or cause a leak. And that's what you're saying.
That's correct.
And this needs to be done.
Eat that copper away.
Okay. And this is something that needs to be done yearly. Is that what?
Absolutely.
Okay. Anne Marie, when was the last time we did ours? She's looking at
it. Was this summer.
It was this. I just know if I don't want it. I just know I love my on-demand hot water heater. I don't know. I don't know. I can go take Hollywood showers in there. That's what we call it in the Navy, where you take more than 5-minute shower. Well, in the Navy, if you take more than a 30-second shower, it's called a Hollywood shower. But still, it's nice to be able to not run out of water when my daughters come to visit. When my daughters come to visit and their family, when we used to have a regular water heater, you had to wait your turn to take a shower, or you'd have cold water. And with this, there's no waiting. It's just automatic, instantaneous hot water, no matter what happens. And it does cost a little bit more. It's about probably I'm just guessing, probably twice as much as putting in a water heater. maybe 3 times.
Depending on the location that we have to install it or move it to, it's typically moved from the location of the actual water heater, because we want it on the outside, so it could be 2 to 2.5 times as much.
Right,
but it's absolutely worth it.
It is. I mean, I really think it's worth it because of the convenience and not having to worry about. I mean, when my wife is washing clothes or I'm taking a shower or doing the dishes or whatever, we do not worry about running out of hot water. We always have hot water. And when I'm doing my beekeeping and I'm having to wash everything off, get rid of the wax and things, I take my water hose off. It's nice to have a constant supply of hot water to move all that honey that hit the ground and all that beeswax hit the ground and get it outside with hot water. But you just won't have that if you have a regular 50-gallon or 30-gallon hot water heater, because you run out very, very quickly. You can't keep up with it, and that's what works on. So Scott, now we only got about a minute left. What should we tell people to do about preventive maintenance, and they need to come see you, and what number should they call?
Well, they should always do preventative maintenance. It actually costs less in the long run. I think you tell that tale every morning on your show. But if they want us to help them out with preventative maintenance, they can call us at 763-2001. We can set up appointments almost any time at their convenience.
That sounds wonderful, and I hope people do take my advice and dial 763-2001. Get Mr. Reuter to come out there. They're the gentleman plumbers. They'll make sure your house is cleaner when they leave than when they came in. I think that's one of y'all's model, what y'all do over there. I mean, y'all clean up the mess that's made, and y'all make sure y'all don't make a mess, which is kind of refreshing.
That's right.
You don't see that
very often. We do our very best to leave it cleaner than when we found it.
That's exactly right. Scott, I want people to give y'all a call at 763-2001. This is James Morris, along with Anna Marie Morris. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow morning. Bye-bye, everybody.
James Auto Center, we fix it right.